Pray, brothers and sisters, that my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable and pleasing to God our Father as we travel through the season of Lent, through the desert to the promised land of Easter. How can our sacrifice be acceptable and pleasing to God? And this Sunday we will learn it is reverence and hospitality. As we see at the Mass at 7 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 5:30 this Sunday, that the gospel reading is the story of the prodigal son. We know the story well, that the younger son says to the father, "Give my share of the inheritance now." And he ends up going off to a far-off land and in a life of dissipation, loses all his inheritance, ends up becoming a slave among the pigs, comes to his senses and returns to his father's house saying, "I am no longer worthy to be called a son. So I will treat me like one of your slaves, one of your servants, one of your hired workers." And here we have the father coming, and he gives him 7 gifts, these beautiful gifts. The gift of his kiss, of his embrace, gives him the tunic, gives him the ring, gives him sandals, gives him a great feast with a fattened calf, and he calls him my son. My son has returned. He has regained his identity as the son of the Father. And then we see the older son in his pride saying, "You haven't even given me a goat for my friends, and here you're killing the fatted calf for this son of yours that spent his whole inheritance on prostitutes." And so he was outside the house, and here comes the father coming outside of his house to bring him in and says, "Son, all that I have is yours, and I will be with you. You will be with me always." And we had to celebrate because this brother of yours, so 3 gifts, so a total of 10 gifts, but his last 3 gifts is that you are always with me, and all that I have is yours. And this brother of yours, that we're a gift. And we're a gift to each other. And God gives us the gift of himself, calling us his sons, his daughters, his children, and to fully accept our identity in who we are, thanks to Christ, as children of God, and to recognize each other as a gift. And so it is important, therefore, to really first reverence. Reverence means to fully enter into this great banquet. To fully enter means to surrender and to enter. Therefore, put on the tunic that God is giving us to dress up for Jesus every Sunday, to wear our very best for God, to give God our very best by dressing up. And then when we come to Mass, to total reverence, bowing down, putting the kneeler down nice and slowly so we can totally enter into this. That's the first reading, is of Joshua and the Hebrews enter into the promised land and eat from the fruit of the land of milk and honey. And so to really enter into this promise. And so that's reverence. And then comes hospitality, like the Father, to really practice hospitality as he gives these 10 gifts with his embrace and kiss and tunic and sandal and rings and the fattened calf of the feast, and calling us his son, and that all that we have is from the Lord, and that we're with him always, and that to recognize each other as his brothers and sisters. And so we're called to this ministry of reconciliation. That's what Paul speaks about, that we're called to reconciliation. Truly go out and welcome everyone that comes to us, to our parish, seeking, and really walk with them, accompany them, so they truly find their home with God in our midst. Amen. Let it be so.